Now on Coast TV News.
Candidates selected. The Democrat running for District 20's special election is no longer a mystery. We'll introduce you. July 4th festivities. We'll tell you the firework regulations in both Maryland and Delaware to ensure you have a safe time this holiday weekend. Trump moves on tariffs. The president says today he's telling countries what the tariff rate for their goods will be.
Beautiful weather for the 4th of July. Lots of sunshine, lower humidity, seasonable temperatures, looking great for outdoor activities and cookouts, and looking really good this evening for the fireworks. Forecast details coming up.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Matt Pensick has the day off. Thank you for joining us for our 6 o'clock hour on this 4th of July. It is Friday, it's 4th of July. I think that means a good beach day. And First Alert Meteorologist Bob Trahey is going to tell us that the weather couldn't be more perfect for today. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Lisa. No, I mean, we couldn't have scripted a better forecast. Absolutely perfect. We got all that rain out of the way earlier in the week, and now we're looking at clear skies all across Delaware and Delmarva. We have a cold front, a secondary one pushing through now, right along the Delaware-Maryland state line, and behind it, it's slightly drier, slightly cooler as high pressure is building in from southeast Canada, bringing us a beautiful 4th of July. We're looking at temperatures into the mid to upper 60s out the door. This is the coolest it's been for a while. 67 Georgetown, Millsboro 65. A little warmer at the beaches, 74 Ocean City, Rehoboth 72. And dew point temperatures lower, much lower, as a drier air is building in with a light northerly breeze. And we'll be looking at beautiful conditions this morning in the 70s and then low 80s, mid-morning, low humidity, maybe a few clouds around the noon hour. And then by 2 p.m., maybe you're firing up the grill. Low to mid 80s, inland 70s and 80s at the coast. Is fantastic weather into the afternoon, and then heading into the evening, looking great for the fireworks. And if you're riding the ferry on this 4th of July, looking good. A light northerly breeze. Should be a pretty smooth ride with the light winds, with sunshine in 70s and then lower 80s this afternoon.
Thank you, Bob. We are now taking a live look at the Bay Bridge. We expect to see many of our friends from D.C. and Baltimore use that roadway to get to the beaches today. Not seeing too heavy of traffic this morning, which is always a good sign. And here is a look at the scene in Newcastle County. That's Interstate 95 and Route 1, the big corridor that brings our friends from Wilmington and Philadelphia to the beaches. And happening today, communities all across Delmarva will celebrate the 4th of July, especially the first town in the first state. Lewis has planned a full schedule from 9 a.m. to dusk, and here are some of the event highlights. The city says at noon it's the 28th annual July 4th celebration and car show at Trinity Faith Christian Center. At 1:30, the Independence Day Boat Parade sets off from the Roosevelt Inlet and heads towards Savannah Bridge. Around 5 p.m., you can catch the Doodah Parade, and of course, tonight will wrap up with fireworks at dusk. And with all the festivities, there are some road closures in Lewis to be aware of. According to the city, 2nd Street will be closed to cars all day. The Savannah Bridge will close to drivers at 7 o'clock, followed by Freeman Highway Bridge at 8 p.m. Officials say after the fireworks show, traffic will be held for at least 30 minutes, so pedestrians and cyclists can safely leave the area. That includes traffic coming from Cape Henlopen State Park. This just in, Bethany Beach has been hosting events all week in celebration of today's holiday, and here are some of the events taking place today. The town says a 4th of July parade is taking place at noon. Then at 7:30, you can rock out with the Rick K. Road Show, and fireworks are set to light up the sky at night. To end the week, officials say the 6-string Soldiers will take the bandstand stage at 7:30 on Saturday. Across Delmarva, there will be road closures and increased police in Laurel during the town's events today. According to police, the popular street bridge will be closed from 8 to 11 p.m. Delaware Avenue from Front Street to Willow Street and Front Street from Central Avenue to Willow Street will both be closed from noon to 10 p.m. Streets along the parade route will also be closed from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. That parade steps off around 7 p.m. and the fireworks will begin at 9:30. And for an in-depth guide to all of the events happening across Delmarva today and this weekend, you can head over to CoastTV.com and our news app. Drivers heading to the Chesapeake Bay Bridge are getting a heads up on the best and worst times to travel. The Maryland State Highway Administration says traffic should be normal on the 4th, but the agency says avoid using the bridge Saturday and Sunday between the hours of 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. The State Highway Administration is stopping non-emergency lane closures through early Monday morning. They'll also have extra patrols in busy areas to clear broken down cars and help with crash cleanup. Drivers hitting the road this 4th of July weekend may not have as much pain at the pump this year. Prices have dropped since we last covered them on Thursday. According to AAA, the average price of gas in Delaware is $3.17 per gallon. In Maryland, it's $3.21, and in Virginia, it's $3.08. This does not stray too far from the national average of $3.16. That's down from $3.49 per gallon last year. And AAA says a record-setting 61.6 million people are expected to travel by car this 4th of July weekend. New this morning, if you're planning on holding your own fireworks show in Delaware, you might want to rethink. State law only allows non-explosive ground-based products like sprinklers or jumping jacks. Aerial and explosive fireworks such as bottle rockets and firecrackers are not allowed. Officials say illegal possession could lead to possible fines. And in Maryland, there are similar rules according to the state on the Eastern Shore. Only ground-based fireworks like the ones we just described are allowed. This includes all of the counties such as Wicomico and Worcester. However, officials detail that Ocean City has expanded permissions. New in California, one woman was critically hurt Thursday night in a fireworks-related fire that burned multiple homes in Los Angeles. The LA Fire Department said it involved active fireworks inside a detached garage. More than 100 firefighters spent nearly an hour knocking out that fire, which damaged at least 4 homes. Following Thursday's Democratic Public Forum in Lewis, the District 20 Democratic Committee chose a candidate for the special election. The committee unanimously picked Alana Berry, but they did vote twice. The seat is currently vacant after former Representative Stell Parker-Selby resigned. She will face Republican Nikki Miller on the ballot. Berry worked under former Delaware Governor John Carney and says she has experience with budgeting and policies.
No better time than right now in this moment. There's a lot happening both federally and locally, and I think we need really strong leaders in Dover who understand how our state system works, who understand the impacts of policies being passed in our state, and understand how that translates back to our district.
Berry told CoastTV she hopes to continue Parker-Selby's legacy. This week, the Sussex County Republican Party officially named Nikki Miller as their candidate for that special election. Miller had already filed for the 2026 race, and this is her second attempt at the seat. Miller lost to Parker-Selby by just 275 votes back in 2024. Miller told CoastTV she hopes the experience she gained from past campaigns will better her chances in a special election.
When I was principal and when I'm in administrator role, I care about constituents, right? That's just going to be bigger now. So my responsive to the constituents, being that voice for them, not only when we're voting on things, but being there to support them in other ways.
And that special election is set for August 5th. And we are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. Major tariff news could be decided by President Trump as early as today. Going back to the immediate aftermath of President Donald Trump's so-called Liberation Day in April, that's when he imposed a list of new tariffs. Stock markets plunged and forecasters started worrying about an economic slowdown. Those duties are paused at this moment, and as Amy Kiley shows us, that pause is set to end next week.
My inclination is to send a letter out and saying what tariff they're going to be paying.
U.S. businesses could soon learn the tariff rate they'll have to pay for certain imports. President Donald Trump says he's sending determination letters to countries, possibly starting today.
I think by the 9th they'll be fully covered, and they'll range in value from maybe 60 or 70% tariffs to 10 and 20% tariffs.
Trump's so-called reciprocal tariff pause is set to end Wednesday.
Far more than 170 countries. And how many deals can you make? And you can make good deals, but they're very much more complicated.
He's sounding less confident about making trade deals now than he did shortly after imposing his tariffs in April.
We're doing very well in making, I call them tailored deals, not off the rack. These are tailored, highly tailored deals.
But Trump says tariffs are more than just a negotiating tool. He argues they help domestic producers and generate revenue. Many economists argue they also raise prices and can hurt the economy.
Chair, would the Fed have cut more by now if it weren't for the tariffs? So I do think that's right. In effect, we went on hold when we saw the size of the tariffs and essentially all inflation forecasts for the United States went up materially as a consequence of the tariffs.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And we are just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News today. We still have a lot more news to get to. Coming up, a big holiday for businesses. We'll show you how some Ocean City businesses are preparing for an influx of visitors. And finding funding for museum, we'll tell you how the Milford Museum says they are on the hunt again after a response from a funding request. And Rehoboth water risks, we'll tell you why officials in Rehoboth Beach are warning you about the water. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
Just about 6:13, a beautiful sunrise on this 4th of July in Laurel, 65 degrees, lower humidity. We're in the mid to upper 60s. The coolest morning we've seen in some time was 70s at the coast and a northerly breeze as we do have a cold front sliding through. Lots of clear skies. We're going to see lower humidity throughout the day as this front continues to move through as high pressure builds in. We're looking at sunshine as well and temperatures just gorgeous out there. On Delmarva on this Independence Day, 81 at the coast with light winds. Inland areas in the eastern shore, upper 80s later today, looking fantastic for the fireworks this evening. I'll have that fireworks forecast coming up in a little bit.
Thank you, Bob. There's a water advisory in Rehoboth Beach right now. According to the city, DENREC found elevated levels of bacteria in the water near the avenue. The beach remains open, but swimmers are advised to keep their heads above the water. The city says most people are fine, but few people with weakened immune systems can get sick after swimming in water like this. This typically happens after a heavy rainstorm when stormwater runoff collects animal waste. And for more information about this, you can head to our article on coasttvnews.com. In Salisbury, storm drain maintenance on East Naylor Mill Road is facing a short delay after unexpected storms over the past 2 days. That's according to city officials, and crews will resume work Monday, July 7th from 7 a.m. to 4:30. While a lane closure will stay in place, the city says only minor traffic impacts are expected. And a trial conducted over a recent 6-month period tested the effects of a 4-day work week on about 1,000 employees in the UK. The results, several companies reported higher revenue with fewer sick days taken during that trial period. All 17 entities who participated ended up keeping the 4-day work week. One CEO even expects a shortened work week will be in the norm in the next decade. Employment seekers have plenty of options. The U.S. economy added 147,000 jobs last month. According to the latest data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that's higher than many economists had forecasted, and it's a slight bump from the 144,000 gained during the month of May. The national unemployment rate in June also fell 0.1% to 4.1%.
We're seeing a refreshing breeze at the coast on the Tullen Razor Cam, 74 degrees. Oh, looks like maybe there was a bald eagle flying by there. It looked pretty cool. We're looking at lots of sunshine, lower humidity, pleasant temperatures for our 4th of July. Looking great for the outdoor activities and fireworks this evening. The nice weather continues into the weekend. Your holiday forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
17, and we're taking a live look outside at Lewis this morning, and Bob, Lewis is going to be a popular location. We see a breeze going, we see those flags, the American flag blowing in the wind there. Another beautiful day and hopefully a good night for some fireworks.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a great night for fireworks, Elisa, and a beautiful day for the cookout as well. Just really nice all in all. As we've got 3 cities with fireworks tonight at least. I know we have Salisbury, also Lewis, Bethany, and Ocean City. Sunset this evening, 8:28, looking great for the fireworks. Light winds, 74 degrees around the time of sunset, so a perfect evening on the way for those fireworks or any outdoor activities you have for the 4th. Out the door this morning, it is pleasantly cool. 64 in Redden, Georgetown 67, Willard 66. A little milder at the beaches, 73 Ocean City, 71 in Rehoboth, 75 in Lewis, as dew point temperatures are coming down. They're in the low to mid 60s, so it's much drier. We had dew points in the 70s for the longest time, but we're looking at a northerly breeze right now as a secondary cold front is making its way through Delmarva right now, pretty much right along the Delaware, Maryland, Maryland state line, and it is bringing in drier air with some Canadian air too, with high pressure across southeast Canada. So all the way up into New England, it's nice, and this is where our air is coming from high pressure over the Great Lakes right now. To the south of this front, that's where we're seeing the humidity, and also an area of low pressure off the southeast coast. This could take on tropical characteristics with time, and it'll be paralleling the coast and could hit us with a little bit of rain as we go into your Monday. But there is a 60% chance in the next 7 days that this could become some kind of tropical entity. But right now it is still pretty disorganized. This morning on Futurecast, looking great if you're headed out for breakfast on this 4th of July. 70s and then warming into the 80s by noon. 70s and 80s at the coast, and a light wind today too. Into this afternoon, mid 80s, maybe upper 80s around Salisbury. 81 in Rehoboth with a gorgeous Friday afternoon. And then gearing up for the fireworks this evening. Temperatures falling through the 70s with light winds, and then into the 60s after midnight. In fact, we could be looking at low 60s away from the coast tomorrow morning, with another nice day tomorrow with temperatures into the 80s once again, and then moving into your Sunday, a little more humidity, 60s and 70s to start, and then as we go through the afternoon, looking at mid to upper 80s. And then that system I was talking about that once again could become tropical in some way, could get us a little bit with some rain as we go into Monday. Right now, not looking significant. We'll continue to watch that. Here is the muggy meter showing us almost in the comfy range the next couple of days. Still a little muggy, and then very humid to miserable tropical-like air as we go into next week. 84 in Seaford today on your 4th, 84 in Laurel, Rehoboth, 80 degrees, a beautiful 4th of July with Easton 84, the same for Cambridge, and in Salisbury 85 for you with Chincoteague checking in with 84 degrees. Paul, they have a 7-day forecast. We continue the nice weather right into the weekend with upper 80s, more clouds on Sunday, more humidity as well. Then that chance of rain on Monday with that coastal system. We'll be watching that 85, and then scattered storms Tuesday through Thursday, upper 80s Tuesday and Wednesday, a little cooler heading into Thursday.
Thank you, Bob. A big bump in the road for the future of the Milford Museum. After asking for $500,000 from the Community Reinvestment Fund, the Milford Museum got less than 1/10 of that in its move to the old police station. This move has been planned for over a year due to the lack of space in the current location. Mayor Todd Collada, though, doesn't seem too worried about not getting those initial funds needed.
But that doesn't mean that this stops the project. We'll still work with them closely to help with funding and things like that. And we actually have within our own community experts in public funding projects.
And Milford's museum director says they'll continue looking for grants, donations, and resources to get that project done.
The grills are hot, the fireworks are ready, and the weekend is just getting started. Stay with us for your cool things to do.
A big change for a coastal business community. After 36 years, the woman behind the Rehoboth Beach Dewey Beach Chamber of Commerce is stepping down. President and CEO Carol Everhart has announced her retirement, saying it's been a true blessing to serve the community. There's no word yet on who will take her place. And Ocean City has been getting ready for the 4th of July, and thousands of visitors are heading to the coast for the holiday weekend. There are already flags hanging high, and one store owner in downtown Ocean City says she always gets business during the holiday.
During the day, it's a lot of people walking and getting ready. They'll stake out on the benches and on the beach and everything like that. And then in the evening, right before the fireworks, they like to walk and come get their last minute purchases and that type of stuff.
And if you want to check out the OC fireworks for yourself, they will be on the beach near Caroline Street and at the Northside Park starting at 9:30. And Bob, we have a beautiful Friday and 4th of July on the way, which is what everyone has been wanting. You know, those weekends of rain and poor weather, it makes it all worth it.
I know, it all worked out perfectly this week.
You said it would. You said it would.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
But yeah, we got the
yeah, we got the rain out of the way just in time for the 4th of July. Looking great at the beaches today, Chincoteague and Assateague, lots of sunshine. Around 80 in Chincoteague, maybe slightly cooler in Assateague, and then farther up the coast, Fenwick Island, I think lower 80s for you, maybe a little cooler in Ocean City. Looking great this evening for the fireworks. Once again, the UV index is very high, so take it easy in the sun. On the bay side, the next 3 days, we're into the 80s, and then the nice weather continues right into the weekend with mid-80s for Crisfield as well. More clouds by Sunday, maybe that rain chance by Monday, but much more on your 4th of July forecast coming up in the next half hour.
Parades, fireworks, and even crab races. It must be Independence Day weekend on Delmarva. Coast TV's Christina DeRobertis has a look at your cool things to do.
Independence Day on Delmarva, it's not just a holiday, it's a whole weekend experience. Tonight, fireworks are lighting up the sky across the region. In Lewis, they'll launch from Lewis Beach at dusk. In Dewey Beach, fireworks are set to go off around 8:30 over the Rehoboth Bay, and Bethany Beach's display is expected around 9:30. Rehoboth Beach is saving its show for Saturday night. And once the fireworks wrap up, there's still more to do this weekend. In Long Neck, it's the 20th annual crab races at AmVet's Post 2 on Saturday. Saturday morning, the historic Lewis Farmers Market celebrates 20 years with a tractor-led opening parade at 8 a.m., birthday cake at 10, plus plenty of fresh food and fun. Also in Lewis, the local chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution are hosting tours at the historic Mall House. It's one of the oldest homes in the area, and tours run from 10 to 2. You can check out the Cool Things to Do article on CoastTV.com for event details, tickets, and more.
Now on Coast TV News.
Candidate selected. The Democrat running for District 20's special election is no longer a mystery. We'll introduce you. July 4th festivities. We'll tell you the firework regulations in both Maryland and Delaware to ensure you have a safe time this holiday weekend. Trump moves on tariffs. The president says today he's telling countries what the tariff rate for their goods will be.
Beautiful weather for the 4th of July. Lots of sunshine, lower humidity, seasonable temperatures, looking great for outdoor activities and cookouts, and looking really good this evening for the fireworks. Forecast details coming up.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Matt Pensick has the day off. Happy 4th of July. Hard to believe we're already saying that it is the 4th of July, but this is a busy weekend for many beach towns and coastal communities, and I'm sure you're all hoping the weather is good to hit the beach today. And we're going to bring in First Alert meteorologist Bob Trahey because no one cares to hear about me. They want to hear about Bob and the weather. Tell us, Bob.
Oh, thanks a lot, Elisa. Good morning to you and happy 4th of July. And we are looking at gorgeous conditions. Couldn't have scripted better weather for the 4th as we're looking at clear skies out the door. We have another cold front sliding through now, moving into Maryland, and behind it we're looking at slightly drier and slightly cooler air with high pressure building in from southeast Canada. So a perfect setup as we go through your 4th of July. Looking at temperatures cooler too, with mid to upper 60s, Milford 65, 66 Gumboro, a little milder at the beaches, Bethany Beach 72, Lewis at 76, and dew point temperatures are lower as well as that drier air is settling in. We have dew point temperatures in the low to mid 60s, and now the wind's starting to come in out of the northeast, so light winds, beautiful conditions with 70s and 80s with clear skies this morning by noon. Low to mid 80s inland, maybe a few clouds, otherwise looking great for the cookouts this afternoon with temperatures in the mid 80s inland areas, 70s and 80s at the coast. And then this evening, as we transition to the fireworks, I think we're looking at fantastic conditions for that. Here's your planner on your 4th of July, looking great. 79 at 10, by 2 p.m. 84 and mid 80s right through the evening hours. And once again, looking great for the fireworks. I'll have that forecast and the rest of your weekend as well coming up a little bit later on.
Thank you, Bob. And we are now taking a live look at the Bay Bridge in Maryland this morning. We see some cars on that roadway, not as much traffic as we're possibly expecting, but we plan to see many of our friends from DC and Baltimore drive over this bridge to spend their Independence holiday on the coast. And here's the scene in Newcastle County. We see plenty of cars there on Interstate 95 and Route 1. This big corridor brings our friends from Wilmington and Philadelphia to the beaches. And our top story this half hour, following Thursday's Democratic Public Forum in Lewis, the District 20 Democratic Committee unanimously picked Alana Berry, but they did have to vote twice. She will face Republican Nikki Miller on August 5th. Berry worked under former Delaware Governor John Carney. Coast TV's Emma Aiken shows us how she says with this being a special election, it's even more important that it's someone with experience like herself.
Alana Berry has been selected as the District 20 Democratic candidate.
She'll run against Republican Nikki Miller. Joe Elder, Randy Meredith, Ruby Schaefer, and Keith Steck are the 4 other candidates Berry beat out. In her remarks, Berry said her experience would make her the best candidate.
There's no better time than right now in this moment. There's a lot happening both federally and locally, and I think we need really strong leaders in Dover who understand how our state system works, who understand the impacts of policies being passed in our state, and understand how that translates back to our district.
District 20 voter Kevin Murphy agreed that Berry was the best choice.
She's got a tremendous background. She knows the area, and I think that she would be a very formidable candidate against the Republican.
One of Berry's first priorities, she says, if she wins the election, would be education reform. The special election is set for August 5th.
For CoastTV News, I'm Emma Aiken.
And this special election is being held as a result of former District 20 Representative Stale Parker Selby's resignation. Berry told CoastTV she hopes to continue Parker Selby's legacy. This week, the Sussex County Republican Party officially named Nikki Miller as their candidate for that special election. Miller had already filed for the 2026 race, and this is her second attempt at the seat. Miller lost to Parker Selby by just 275 votes in 2024. Miller told CoastTV she hopes the experience she gained from past campaigns will better her chances in a special election. Happening today, communities all across Delmarva will celebrate the 4th of July, especially the first town in the first state. Lewis has planned a full schedule from 9 a.m. to dusk, and here are some of the event highlights. The city says at noon it's the 28th annual July 4th celebration and car show at Trinity Faith Christian Center. At 1:30, the Independence Day Boat Parade sets off from the Roosevelt Inlet and heads towards Savannah Bridge. Around 5 p.m., you can catch the Doodah Parade, and of course the night will wrap up with fireworks. And in Bethany Beach, they've been hosting a bunch of events all week to celebrate today's holiday, and here's what's taking place today. The town says a 4th of July parade is taking place at noon. Then at 7:30, you can rock out with the Rick K. Road Show, and fireworks are set to light up the sky at night. And to end the week, officials say the 6 String Soldiers will take the bandstand stage at 7:30 on Saturday. And for more events taking place across the peninsula today, downtown Milford is hosting a special First Friday. Officials say people can expect vendors, yard games, and food trucks at Bicentennial Park from 5 to 9 p.m. Salisbury says the fireworks show will kick off tonight at James M. Bennett High School. Officials say gates open at 6 o'clock and the show begins at 9:15. And in Ocean City, there are 2 locations to view fireworks. That's at the Caroline Street Stage in Uptown at Northside Park. The event starts at 8 o'clock with music, and then the sky will light up at 9:30. And those fireworks in OC do mean closures in some spots in town, including the soccer field and walking path on the northwest side of Northside Park. A lot of streets will turn into no parking areas starting at 2 p.m. and the inlet parking lot is open, but it will cost $6 an hour today. And this just in, if you're planning on holding your own fireworks show, you might want to rethink. According to Maryland, on the Eastern Shore, only ground-based fireworks like sparklers, this includes all counties such as Wicomico and Worcester County, is allowed. However, officials detail that Ocean City has expanded those permissions. And in Delaware, there are similar rules. State law only allows non-explosive ground-based products like sparklers and jumpin' jacks. Aerial and explosive fireworks such as bottle rockets and firecrackers are not allowed. Officials say illegal possession could lead to possible fines. And today is the 4th of July, and the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says there were 11 reported firework-related deaths last year. Most of those involved mishandling and misfires. More than 14,000 people were injured by fireworks, and around 1,700 people went to the ER for injuries related to sparklers. Delaware winemakers and consumers may soon be getting a taste of long-awaited change. House Bill 187, which passed both the House and the Senate, would allow licensed producers to ship limited quantities of wine directly to consumers' homes with age checks and delivery safeguards. If signed by Governor Matt Meyer, Delaware would become the 49th state to allow direct wine shipment. Local wineries say it's a big business boost and a big step forward after a decade-long push in the first state.
The state's going to get more money in their coffers. The Delaware residents win because now they can get their favorite wine shipped to their house. And we, as small wineries in the state of Delaware, we win too.
A spokesperson for Governor Meyer said, quote, Governor Meyer and his legal team are reviewing all legislation simultaneously. And we are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. Major tariff news could be decided by President Trump as early as today. U.S. businesses could soon learn the tariff rate they'll have to pay for certain imports. President Donald Trump says he's sending determination letters to countries likely starting today. He says rates will range from 10 to 20% or 60 to 70%. The Federal Reserve Chair says they contributed the Fed's recent decisions not to lower rates.
Chair, would the Fed have cut more by now if it weren't for the tariffs?
So I think that's right. In effect, we went on hold when we saw the size of the tariffs and essentially all inflation forecasts for the United States went up materially as a consequence of the tariffs.
And the president is sounding less confident after making trade deals now than he did shortly after imposing those tariffs. President Trump says tariffs will bring in revenue. And we have a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Coming up, fourth, food safety, how to avoid illnesses as grills heat up. And from baseball matchups to the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, there's plenty to watch this 4th of July. In $1 million fire damage, we'll tell you about the scary situation that sent one first responder to the hospital. Stay with us on Coast TV News today.
Exactly 6:42 on this 4th of July morning, and you can see Old Glory waving in the wind on the Tullen Razor Cam. 75. Gorgeous conditions out there, a little bit of a breeze and temperatures mid to upper 60s, 70s at the coast right now, and a little bit of a breeze as we saw there at the beaches. The wind is coming out of the north now as we have another cold front that's making its way through Delmarva. There it is sinking to the south, bringing in slightly cooler air today, and high pressure building in will make for a gorgeous 4th of July. If you're on the boardwalk this morning, maybe getting some breakfast, looking at sunshine, temperatures into the 70s, lower 80s as we go into the afternoon. A beautiful 4th of July. Umbrella giveaway winner is Beth Lindsay from Lewis. Congratulations to her from Paul Davis and Coast TV.
A heads up for drivers near Milton. Webb Road will be closed between Gravel Hill Road and Shingle Point Road next week. Deldet says crews will be working on underground utility lines tied to the Four Winds Farm development. That closure starts Monday, July 14th at 7 a.m. and will run through Friday, the 18th. 2 chicken houses caught fire on the same Caroline County property this week. This is on Tuckahoe Road in Denton. The fire marshal says the chickens in both houses were killed, but it's unclear how many. A firefighter was taken to the hospital for heat exhaustion while battling those flames. Damage is estimated at more than $1 million.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Whether you're spending your 4th at the beach, on the boat, or in the backyard, here's what events you can follow throughout the morning and afternoon. In baseball, the Orioles play the Braves tonight at 7:15. Baltimore is coming off another series loss to the Rangers down at Arlington. The O's fall to 37-49 of the season. Charlie Morton gets the baseball for Baltimore, looking to right the ship against Atlanta's Spencer Strider. The Phillies continue their homestand against the Cincinnati Reds. Philadelphia just took 2 of 3 from the Padres, is now 28-15 at Citizens Bank Park this season. First pitch, 1:05. Jesus Luzardo is going to be your starting pitcher for Philly. The Nationals begin play today with 11:05 first pitch against the Red Sox as well. But the main event this afternoon, Joey Chestnut returns to the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Chestnut was banned last year because of one of his partnership's rivalry with Nathan's. The world-renowned dog demolisher tries to break his own record of 76 hot dogs eaten back in 2021. You can watch on ESPN2 at noon. An extra dash of patriotism for you comes up Sunday. The U.S. men's soccer squad plays Mexico for the Gold Cup title. The Americans last won the biannual tournament in 2021. Mexico playing the most recent title in 2023. The match is scheduled for 6 p.m. in Houston on Sunday, and you can watch it on Fox 21. That's it for sports. Have a great 4th, everybody.
And coming up tonight on DSN, your game of the night at 5 o'clock, it's Stellar Fights 64. Then at 8:30, it's Stellar Fights 66.
Weather-wise, looking at 68 in Salisbury right now, and the Spicer Brothers Cam, a gorgeous start to our 4th of July. Gorgeous day, lower humidity, pleasant temperatures, and great for the fireworks this evening. The nice weather continues into the weekend. I'll have your full forecast coming up after the break.
7 and we are taking a live look outside at Laurel on this Friday morning that is 4th of July. We see a beautiful sunshine out there, Bob. Bob, it's a big day for fireworks, but also for grilling. Some people might grill breakfast, lunch, and dinner today. You never know.
I know. I just bought my gas tank yesterday.
You're ready.
Ready to hook it up and fire up the grill, Lisa. And you said that's a hot commodity, and I'm sure it is on this 4th of July. If you're grilling out, ooh, don't those burgers and hot dogs look good? 1 p.m., 83, sunshine. 3 p.m., 86, 84 at 6 p.m. So not too sweaty over that grill as air temperatures are pretty tolerable. And we've got fireworks tonight in 3 locations, Lewis, Bethany, and Ocean City. Sunsets at 8:28. And for the fireworks this evening, looking great. Clear skies. Around sunset, 74. Absolutely perfect evening for those fireworks with light winds. Out the door right now, temperatures in the mid to upper 60s, so a little cooler behind a cold front that moved through this morning. 74 in Ocean City, 71 in Rehoboth, and dew point temperatures for the first time in a long time now in the 60s as we're beginning to dry things out. Winds coming out of the northeast behind that front. We have clear skies. It's going to be a fantastic day as that cold front is now pushing to the southern tip of Delmarva as we're seeing that flow coming out of the north with Canadian high pressure building in from the Great Lakes, and that will give us a perfect day as we go through your 4th of July. Really, much of the East Coast is seeing great weather, except off the southeast coast. We're watching a system that could become tropical in nature. We'll have to watch this as it looks like it will parallel the coast and maybe nick us with a little bit of rain as we go into Monday. Right now, the National Hurricane Center is thinking a 60% chance of this developing into maybe a tropical entity as we go through the next couple of days, but no worries the next few days as we're looking at 70s and eventually 80s on Futurecast by the noon hour, and by 4:30 mid 80s inland areas, 70s at the coast. Gorgeous weather as we go into the evening hours. Still 80 around 7 o'clock and then falling through the 70s for the fireworks. And then make sure you have a light jacket later tonight because 60s, in fact lower 60s as we go into your Saturday morning. And then by tomorrow afternoon, still really nice with temperatures into the mid 80s. I think we're going to bring in a little more humidity going into your Sunday, maybe a little muggier Sunday morning, and then by the afternoon into the upper 80s as the winds pick up out of the southeast ahead of this system that once again could be tropical in nature, could get us with a little bit of rain as we go into Monday. Right now, not looking too significant as we're almost in the comfy range on the muggy meter the next couple of days, but then it's back to the very humid, miserable weather as we go into early next week. 84 in Dover today, Millsboro 84, great 4th of July. 80 in Rehoboth for the Eastern Shore, mid 80s from Cambridge to Federalsburg and Easton, and then farther to the south and east, mid 80s from Salisbury to Chincoteague and Ocean City. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, looking good into the weekend. Sunshine Saturday, 87, increasing clouds Sunday, 89, maybe some showers later Sunday, but especially Monday, a little cooler, 85, and then scattered storms Tuesday through Thursday, upper 80s Tuesday, then cooling to 86, and a little wet by Thursday.
Thank you, Bob. Well, your 4th of July fireworks bill might be higher this year. The American Pyrotechnics Association says that's because 99% of consumer fireworks in the U.S. are produced by China, and China is subject to tariffs by the Trump administration. Some fireworks sellers aren't seeing a major jump in prices. Miller Fireworks Company has been in business in Northwest Ohio for more than 70 years. A salesman says they tried to stock up before the tariffs were enforced.
Some of them did hit us. We did take some across the board, but it only raised a couple of our items. The majority of our stuff stayed the same price, so we're still able to give you the deals.
And meanwhile, the American Pyrotechnics Association is warning against sustained tariffs. It says they could impact many small businesses that make up the American fireworks industry. It's warning of higher prices and supply chain challenges. The time is now 6:51 and we are going to check in with our coastal pet of the day. And today's coastal pet of the day is coming to us from the Brandywine Valley SPCA, as it does every Friday. On your screen right now is Eleanor. Eleanor is a gorgeous lady. She loves to hide under blankets and enjoys an independent lifestyle. If you want to adopt Eleanor or Thatcher, who we showed you in our 5 o'clock hour, and give them a forever home that they deserve, you can head over to the Brandywine Valley SPCA. And we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen, scan the QR code at the top of your screen, and submit your furry furry friend to Coast TV News. Then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all of the pets we feature. It is 6:55 and it's time for the things you need to know before you go. Following Thursday's Democratic Public Forum in Lewis, the District 20 Democratic Committee chose a candidate for that special election. The committee unanimously picked Alana Berry, but they did have to vote twice. That seat is currently vacant after former Representative Stell Parker-Selby resigned. She will face Republican Nikki Miller on that ballot. Berry worked under former Delaware Governor John Carney and says she has experience with budgeting and policies. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says there were 11 reported firework-related deaths last year. Most of those involved mishandling and misfires. More than 14,000 people were injured by fireworks, and around 1,700 people went to the ER for injuries related to sparklers. Delaware winemakers and consumers may soon be getting a taste of long-awaited change. House Bill 187, which passed both the House and the Senate, would allow licensed producers to ship limited quantities of wine directly to consumers' homes with age checks and delivery safeguards. If signed by Governor Matt Meyer, Delaware would become the 49th state to allow direct wine shipment. 2 chicken houses caught fire on the same Caroline County property this week. This is on Tuckahoe Road in Denton. The fire marshal says the chickens in both houses were killed, but it's unclear how many. A firefighter was taken to the hospital for heat exhaustion while battling the flames. Damage is estimated at more than $1 million. It is 6:56, so we're going to take another look at your July 4th forecast. Bob, we have a beautiful day for all outdoor activities.
Yeah, looking perfect out there. Cooking out, hanging out, whatever you're doing, getting some sun and enjoying the fireworks. We're in good shape. Here's your plan. Our upper 70s later this morning, into the mid 80s this afternoon, comfortable humidity levels, and looking at lots of sunshine. And for the fireworks this evening, looking really good as temperatures are falling through the 70s with very light winds and looking just perfect out there. Paul Davis, 10-day forecast. Upper 80s as we go into the weekend, mostly sunny Saturday. More clouds on Sunday, 89. A chance of rain on Monday. Watching a coastal system that could give us a little bit of rain then. And then scattered storms Tuesday through the rest of the week with highs in the 80s and still looking a little wet as we go into next weekend.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Today. The Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m. Then we'll be back for Coast TV midday at 11. And for even more news and coverage you can count on, download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great 4th of July morning, everyone.